Hi, it's Sandy from Sandy Over 70, and today I want to talk about style. Style refers to your individual way of dressing that allows you to express your personality through your clothing choices. When I was young, I thought I had no sense of style. I was sure that I was one of the worst dressers around. But I just went back and looked at my photo albums from the 70s and 80s, and I am astonished to see that I actually had a style even then. I, of course, have been following fashion trends, but I never fully accepted them. For instance, right now, the fashion industry is trying to shove down our throats the idea of getting rid of all of our slim leggings and slim pants and wearing wide-legged pants and even bell bottoms. I'm sorry, I was there in the 70s. I've already done that. I don't think it's all that flattering at all, and I'm not going there. But I also remember the switch from the wide legs to the slim legs, and it took me, I'd say it seemed like several years to actually adopt that fashion trend. Once I did, I loved it. So I seem to move at a snail's pace. I'm not one to jump onto a fashion trend. And I also look at what looks good on me versus what the fashion industry wants me to wear. So why did I think I didn't have any fashion sense? Well, I had a very good reason. I wore uniforms from 8th grade, so when I was about 14, through nursing school, through the early years of my career when we wore white uniforms, through my 20s. And when I finally came out of the uniforms in my late 20s because I got a staff development job in a hospital, I had no idea how to dress for a date. I remember calling up my girlfriend and asking her what to wear, what should I buy. I had no clue about even purchasing classic pieces. So what changed? I think the very first thing that helped me was a book. The name of the book was Dressing Rich by Leah Felden. That book helped me decide what my style was going to be, what I wanted. You know, at that time, we'd just come out of the hippie era, and I tried to be very casual and dress in a hippie manner, but it never was me. When I read this book, I knew I wanted to look like that. The classic rich look. I read the book from cover to cover many times, and it really helped me. One of the first ideas I incorporated from the book was to buy quality. Up till that point, I'd been looking for sales and bargains. And this book told me what to look for in fabrics and colors and to buy less items but of higher quality. And that really was eye-opening to me because before I just had a lot of clothes. So I started doing that. I bought a black skirt. I bought a beautiful white blouse. Not that these are my colors that I know today, but they were classic. It also advised that we buy a few pieces of really good jewelry. I'd never thought about that before. All my jewelry was custom jewelry. So I had gotten something in the mail about a pearl necklace with a golden diamond clasp from American Express, I believe it was. And it was an 18-inch, fairly good-sized pearls, and you could pay it off in installments. I remember it was $700 for that strand of pearls. And I ordered that strand of pearls, and when it came, I really felt like a rich girl. I put that on and I felt so good. So good. I was just about to leave for Disney World, and it had just arrived in the mail. I wasn't going to leave that strand of pearls home. Oh no, I put that strand of pearls home, and I wore it the whole time I was in Disney World. It's a miracle I didn't lose it, but I loved it. I still have it, and I still love it. I also bought a pair of Mabe pearl earrings that I love. I wear them together often. I feel rich when I wear those two items. And the final thing I added was a watch. Well, we wore watches in that time. I saw a picture of a Gucci watch. I needed a second hand because sometimes I was still a bedside nurse, and I bought a Gucci watch, a classic Gucci watch, which I wore and loved for many, many years until I got a Fitbit. And I have those pieces, and I love those pieces, and they truly made me feel rich. Now, as far as the clothing, what happened was I ended up with a job that was not nursing in the 80s. It was an administrative position, and at that time I wanted to look the part, but I had no idea how to do it. So I bought a book called Dress for Success. Oh my, I read that thing from cover to cover, and I incorporated everything, I mean everything it said. So I bought 5 suits with skirts, because we wore skirts in those days. I bought matching shoes, and I think matching clutch bags. They were called envelope bags because they were like a rectangle. And blouses that went under, and little ties that, actually they were little scarves that you could tie in a bow. And that's what I wore. Now, it seems silly, but it was a really strict code in those days when women were just starting to enter positions that men had had. So it really was important, I think, to dress for success at that time. Later on, I had a job back in nursing where I was a coordinator of staff development and quality assurance. I also wore clothing, but I got more relaxed as the time went on. I still wore those suits, but again, it was more relaxed, and sometimes I would wear actually a pantsuit. But I also had read that you should look to the manager above you and see what she's wearing and copy that if you want to be successful. It turned out that our vice president for nursing wore some really expensive clothing, and so she was a good role model for me. She wore suits, and she also wore a style of shoe every day, the same shoe. Ferragamo was the shoe. I never wore that shoe because I looked it up recently. Today, those shoes cost $880. I'm sure they were expensive in the 80s also. I never bought that shoe, but I did wear a similar low-heeled shoe to work every day. So that was the beginning of my style. One problem I had during this time was that I lived in South Florida in a very hot climate. When I first moved there in the 70s from the Northeast, I noticed a huge difference in how people dressed. I didn't think they dressed very well in the 70s compared to up north. I really didn't. I was pretty shocked. But I got used to it because it was hot down there, and so we dressed for comfort. I was there for 33 years, so that did not help me develop a style. However, I worked on it. I continued reading articles, reading books. I read a book on French style and developing my wardrobe. One trick I learned from the Dressing Rich book was to shop in resale stores. And I'm not talking about Goodwill, although nothing against Goodwill. But I found on Miami Beach and in Miami some stores that had some really, really good quality clothing. I spent a lot of time in these resale stores, not particularly buying, but developing an eye for what was good quality, who were the designers, what were the brand names that I wanted to get. And I developed my wardrobe from that a great deal. I seldom bought retail. I still seldom buy retail, and I still go to resale stores. However, I do shop in department stores as well. I try to stay off of Amazon and other Facebook sites because the quality is so poor. I prefer to buy something in Belk, which is our local department store, or Dillard's. I don't have any other major department stores in the area, no Macy's or anything like that. So that's where I was in the 1980s, and in 1994 I got married, and my husband and I soon thereafter retired basically, and we took a lot of trips. We took a lot of cruises, and I decided I was going to dress up. People in those days did dress up, oh, so much more than they do today. There would be formal nights, and people dressed formally, and they dressed nicely for dinner too. So I think I would take dresses for the dinners and nice tops and pants, and then definitely something very dressy. I didn't take long gowns, but I did take cocktail attire for the formal nights. My husband passed away in 2016, and I met someone a few years later that I'm now married to, and I've been married for 3 years, but we've been together for about 6 or 7 years, and he is a ballroom dancer. So I am a ballroom dancer, which is great. I love dancing. I had to take a lot of lessons to catch up with him, but that is something we share, we enjoy. It's great exercise. But when I first met him and he said, would you like to go to a dance? I said, okay, after I'd had a few lessons. I said, what should I wear? And he said, well, people wear anything. But he said, I really like to see women in skirts. And so I went to the nearest resale store and went through the racks, and I pulled out a dress. I did not have a single dress or skirt in my closet at that time, and I'll say this was probably 2017. I didn't own a dress or skirt. I couldn't find anything to wear, so I had to buy something. Okay, what I pulled out was truly ugly, but I didn't have any time, and I wanted to, of course, please him. He was my boyfriend. And so I wear that ugly dress to the first dance, and I discarded it very quickly and started getting serious about skirts. And I discovered that, yes, you can wear anything to go ballroom dancing, but I would say majority of the women were wearing some kind of dress or skirt. And I love that idea because a skirt, especially a skirt that's flared or full, looks so nice when you're dancing. It looks so feminine, and it just moves so beautifully on the dance floor. So that started my mission to find dance skirts. And at that time, I was able to find a lot of dance skirts in the resale stores and in some of the department stores and women's clothing stores. I love them, and I was able to mix and match. Some had patterns, some were full, some were slimmer, and I bought tops that I could wear with it. The tops had to be cool because you tend to get hot when you're dancing, so a bunch of mix and match. That went on for many years, and I had more fun trying to find those skirts. I now have at least 22 skirts. I love my skirts, and I love wearing them. I will not go to a dance without wearing a skirt. I started a twice-a-month ballroom dance here at our retirement community, and we have dance lessons. Most of the people had not danced before or had minimal lessons. And I thought it would be a great way for us to practice our dancing after the lessons. So of course I wore my skirts, and guess what? Not one woman wore a skirt. And I knew why, because I'd been just like them. I didn't have any skirts in my closet. They had gone away because there was no occasion to wear them. I wanted to be comfortable. As the years have passed and I continue to coordinate this dance, I've noticed that 1 or 2 women, sometimes 3, will come wearing a skirt or dress, and that warms my heart. I have never gone to this dance without a skirt on. I'm hoping that they will pick up on that. Now, sometimes we have theme dances like senior prom or a Valentine's dance or something like that, and if it's a dress-up occasion, more women will come wearing dresses, and that warms my heart, especially on New Year's Eve this year. Even though there were a lot of pants, there were still dresses. So my mission is to bring back elegance to the dance floor. And speaking of that, I just found a Facebook group called Cruising and Dressing to the Nines, which is right up my alley, and it's a group of people who cruise, who get dressed up on the cruises and are trying to promote going back to dressing up on cruises. There's a lot of you who will say, I never want to dress up again as long as I live, and I'm certainly not going to dress up on a cruise. But there are other ones of us who do want to dress up on cruises. So I am really enjoying and getting a kick out of looking at all the photos of people who are getting dressed up for their cruises. So that's where I am now. That is my saga, that is my journey of how I got to be where I am. And if you look into my playlist on fashion and beauty, you'll see me do fashion shows on clothing. When I buy some clothing, I'll usually show it to you. In fact, I have one with just my formal wear. It's called my party wear. I call it my party wear if you want to see some of those things. I'm certainly not suggesting that you follow my lead. This is my style. It makes me happy, and you need to find your style, but do it. You have a style, we all do, and don't let it be the same style that you had in the 70s, in the 80s, and in the 90s. Freshen up that wardrobe. Make yourself feel good, because you will when you put on something that really flatters your shape. Speaking of that, there was a TV show, it's been off the air for a while, called What Not to Wear. And it had a man and a woman who would take a woman who had been nominated by her friends to have a makeover. And they would throw out the clothes in her closet, literally in a big dumpster, and take her shopping, help her select new clothes, have her hairstyle and her makeup done. This show was on for years. I love this show. And I got some great ideas and great tips on how to enhance your body shape, how to look your best. Now, today I was reading about it, and apparently, looking back on this, there's some negativity about forcing a woman to dress to the taste of someone else. And now it's all about dressing in your own style. And these two TV people are coming back with a new show along those lines. I'll be interested in watching it. But it did help me. It really helped me a great deal. And one final thing that helped me define my style. Do you remember Color Me Beautiful? Oh yes. Well, I have the book. Yes, I have the book. But before I bought the book, a group of us at work hired a consultant from Color Me Beautiful. She had a big mirror, and she had long drapey pieces of colored clothing. She sat each one of us down, pulled our hair back out of the way so you couldn't see the hair, and draped this fabric around our neck. And then she asked everyone in the room to pick the colors that looked best on us. It was so interesting because when you were looking at the person who was being draped, you could actually see a difference. And everyone decided that I was a Summer. We were given a little packet with little swatches of fabric in every single color of the rainbow for our color group, and mine being Summer. I carried that packet with me for, it must have been several years when I went shopping, and I only bought clothing that was Summer. I got rid of all those shoes that matched those suits, brown shoes, navy shoes, all that, beige shoes, and I bought black shoes that went with everything. I bought a lot of black skirts, but colored tops, the colored tops being in a Summer color. I got rid of all those different purses that were matching my shoes and my outfits. And all I can say is it took several years to weed all that out of my wardrobe, but it simplified my life as far as how to dress. I can't tell you, it was wonderful, and I stuck to it completely. And to this day, I stick to it. So that is my saga, my journey in developing my own style. I would love to hear about your style journey. Please write about it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and will give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Have a great day.